Hey, comic book collectors, do you want to protect what you collect? Do you hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code ComicCom15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.
Welcome to the one and only Comic-Con Podcast, your podcast for comic book news, reviews, and comic community drama, with your hosts, Nemesis Prime and Milton the Manimal. Are you listening?
Yo, everybody, welcome back. It's been like 2 weeks since we talked to you because we had a little adventure last week. Justin and I went up to New York Comic Con and we had every intention of recording, but we didn't do it. Instead, we just had a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about today, New York Comic Con, our experiences, what we were up to, some of the stories that came out of that, and just kind of see where it goes. And here with me, as always, Mr. Prime himself, Nemi.
Dude, we were, you know that meme, the Magneto, we were so close to perfection. You know, there's like the perfection meme.
Yeah.
That's how close we were to 452 episodes this year.
I know,
Right now we're on track for 51. We did it every week. Every fucking week for you people.
You know what's funny though is like you guys don't know is so I took the train up from Virginia and then Justin jumped on like a Jersey Megalopolis, right?
Metro Park, bro.
Metro Park. Yeah. So like, every time you were telling me that, I kept thinking of that movie that apparently just bombed, Megalopolis. But Justin jumped on. I had some beers waiting for him, and then our plan was to record. We were in the cafe cart. We had like a table and everything, but we just started chatting about other stuff anyway. And then we were just on the move the whole time, really, for the con. But yeah, dude. So NYCC, my first experience, not in New York, but for the con. I've been in New York a bunch of times, but for the con, and I've been to San Diego multiple times. So this is kind of like the last, I guess, outside of C2E2. So one big cons I haven't been to, and yeah, man, it was pretty much what I thought it was going to be. I guess it felt a little. Granted, I only went Thursday and Friday this show, and I didn't go Saturday, which of course is going to be like the mayhem day, right? But
cosplay. You get the cosplay, you get the panels, you get the celebrities. Like that's really
just people as well.
Yeah,
too.
and the people. Obviously, yes, the people.
Yeah,
too.
it's I don't know how to explain it in reference to like San Diego. Did I feel like I felt like San Diego's more crowded. And leading up to it, it's different with New York and San Diego. If people go to San Diego and people have been to New York, like walking into the con is different. Like San Diego starts blocks before you get there, like straight up. Like they like block off roads. There's, and I kind of saw it a little bit, but there's like straight up like advertisements for movies and stuff, and like on the corners and stuff. Like there's a lead up to San Diego where like you're walking up like a block or two before, and that's pretty much the con as well. Where New York is still like that busy ass street right there, like right at the doorstep. But yeah, dude, I mean, it was cool. It's what you expect from like one of the big two cons, right? Like low comic books, lots more pop culture. And you'd kind of explained it to me like the 3 story. I didn't even go up to the 3rd floor ever, but I did kind of like the split up from Artist Alley, even though, like you said, it takes you're walking around a ton, but it kind of like made it a little bit more accessible, I think. So that was cool. I liked it down there as well. Yeah, but
it's definitely changed. Even out front, like where they had, I'm sure you kind of saw like where they had the food trucks.
Yeah.
They used to have like big setups there, years ago. They would have different pop culture stuff, like entertainment things to go and do. Like you'd wait in line and you'd walk in, and then even like directly across the street, before they started building up some of the buildings there, they definitely had things that you could do. But I think they kind of got in trouble because it was just too crowded on that main road. I think people also complained that there was not enough places to eat. So that's why they kind of had the food trucks and stuff underneath. I know you didn't really get to see that either.
Oh yeah, I did. I hung out there and was drinking beers for quite a while.
Okay.
Like,
so yeah. I've never really been up to the 3rd floor, so I don't even know what the hell's up there.
Is that where you get tickets? Is that where like Will calls at and everything?
Oh, I know what you're just talking like that. Yeah, I know. There's like an upstairs to like when you walked out of the showroom floor and then you went down the escalator, instead of going
Mhm.
all the way down to like the panels and artist alley and stuff, if you walked to the left,
Okay.
there's actually like escalators that go up higher.
Yeah, yeah. I saw
I
him.
don't
Yeah.
really know where that sends you to. Maybe like VIP area or like I don't know. I've never really been up that way. Maybe
Huh.
food. I really don't know. I've never been up that high in Javits Center.
Interesting. But yeah, it was cool, man. Like, I mean, you know, you were busy doing all your
Oh,
stuff. But yeah, I mean, I like I've always said, I really am only going to hang out with people. So it's fun to like kind of you go in, you bop around, you say hi to all the people that we knew at like their booths and their vending and different stuff, and then down at Artist Alley. And then for me, it was like, okay, let's dip out and go grab some beers and some food. But you had some adventures too. You were, dude, going to a con with Justin. Let me talk about this with you. If you're like me too, where you're not super interested in like what's occurring at the con, it's a lot of standing around with Justin as he goes to like 14 different places in like Artist Alley. Like, oh, hold on, I gotta go 2 booths over and talk to this guy for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go stand here. So luckily there's booze, so that helps. And other people, Anthony being with me to talk, that helped for
yeah.
sure. But yeah, that was fun, man. I had a really good time. I had a really, really good time.
That's good.
Um,
Yeah,
so
it's different for you and me,
yeah,
obviously it's something different uh, for you because you've been to San Diego. I've never been there. I'm sure other
yeah,
people have, vending wise and everything like that. So it's completely
it's
different. I
pretty
get that.
similar. I thought it was, I
Yeah.
would say it's pretty similar.
Okay.
With like what's available and everything.
Okay.
Um, maybe it's a little different because I feel like now I have a more I know more people who are vendors on the East Coast than I do on like the West Coast now. They're set up at the big ones. So yeah, I know a lot of people still travel out there. Like Reese's, they go out there, for San Diego and everything too. But I'm not sure I can think of like the top of my head, like big vendors out there besides like, these guys, I guess.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's interesting, and I had this conversation with someone today. You get all the big names like Spectral Comics, Unknown Comics, Comic Mint, KRS,
BTC, big
Yeah, Big
time.
Time Collectibles. Our friends at Bird City,
Of
and
course.
they always set up all those people just set up with exclusives. Then you have the kind of like the OGs. There's a lot of OGs in the New York Comic Con area. So like Absolute Comics, Harley Lee, um, Victory Comics. Like, there's a couple other people that have been there many, many years. Like, they get the same booth every year. There's no questions about it. Reed Pop knows what's up. They're in that market. You
Mhm.
really don't see too many other new people unless like somebody completely bows out or kind of sets up their table with somebody.
Gary kind of
It's
broke in past couple of years. Yeah,
yeah,
Gary's
he's
kind of
gotten
becoming a
lucky.
staple.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten lucky. He's been able to get in there and get a huge area. Obviously, that's a big thing. So, but yeah, man, it's definitely interesting. The fact that I thought about this. It's like we didn't roll in until like quarter after one, maybe
Psh,
1:32 on
maybe.
Thursday,
Yeah, that's early. Probably. Yeah.
and I stayed there till 7.
Mhm.
Uh, Friday got in at like 10, and I was out by 3 because I know I was out by 3 because when we met up with Nate, that was at like 3 o'clock. So
Yeah.
to be honest, this year alone was probably my least amount that I've ever spent at New York Comic Con. Like,
Mhm.
it's wild to think about that. And I tried to do a lot on Thursday, knowing that, you only had 2 days. And I knew I definitely wasn't coming back on Saturday. And I figured maybe if anything, I'd go back on Sunday, which, you know, it's so funny. Like, sidetrack, I came home on Saturday and my wife's like, "Oh, are you going to go back on Sunday?" I was like, I don't know. She's like, "How are you going to feel about that?" And I was like, part of me was like jonesing to like, oh, I don't want to go. I want to go back. I gotta get that drug, right? Because it's like, yo, it's the last con of the year. This is it. New York
Right.
Comic Con's it. But I figured, man, after Terrificon, Baltimore, and this, like, I'm kind of tapped out of just like knowing that I can't buy stuff, right? Like knowing that I can't go digging into boxes. Plus, it's like New York is not the place to be digging into boxes. New York is the place to wait in lines, buy exclusives, see shit. And realistically, like for me, it's the artist alley stuff.
Yeah.
you get to see the premier, you know, creme de la creme of artists in Artist Alley. So you get to really see some just amazing original art, and that's kind of where my collecting has gone for the most
Mhm.
part, right? So,
Yeah.
um, it's just weird, man. It was a different con for me. I brought money. I didn't spend it, which was good. Yeah, I bought some stuff, bought some OA. Shit, it was fun.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just weird. Like it was a different New York Comic Con. I will say this, that I haven't been to a New York Comic Con where I was walking around with someone in many, many years. So to have you just to like
Mm.
walk around with you
Yeah.
is different for me. I've even said this to my wife. My wife was just like, "Oh, he was with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, he was, Zach was with me for most of the time." She's like, "Oh, did he get into your way?" And that's the thing. That's
I'm
why I
probably
said
the
to my
best
wife.
person to have walk around with you because I have like no desire to go. If anything, I'm just like, cool, dude. As long as there's a bar like real close right there, I'll just go grab a beer or something. But
Yeah.
I don't really have anything I want to see necessarily. I'm easy.
And I love the fact that we were able to just walk around Artist Alley, and we'd have like a drink in hand, or
Yeah.
we'd be walking the floor with like alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to look at something, I would put it far away so it wouldn't drop on anything, or be like, "Hey, hold this for a sec." Um, yeah, overall, it was a good show. I posted it on our Instagram. The New York News did a Channel 7 News over here did a
Spotlight on
um
us.
yeah, we'll guess that's what we'll call it.
Yeah, it was a
The-
spotlight on us, but just happened to also get some New York Comic Con stuff. Yeah, there we are, right there.
Yeah, so
And that's about what it was like at every. Yeah, obviously, I'm talking like these people listening can see it, but that's about how it was at every booth with Justin up at the booth, me standing in the back, and like
yeah.
Anthony when he was hanging out was with me also.
So I posted it, and I'm standing next to Jorge Corona, great artist, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ain't No
Fabulous.
Grave, Transformers, just to name drop a few books, right? Um, and there's this guy who's standing next to me, and it's probably like 10 minutes. And I'm just like, I really want to ask Jorge about some prices on some OA. And not once, not twice, but three times I got stuck next to this kid at different parts between Thursday and Friday of this is how do I want to put this? An aspiring artist. And he
Mhm.
was walking around with his portfolio to show all the artists. So, like I gave him his time, but at some point you kind of want to be like, time is money, right? Like
Yeah.
he's just like talking to him, and they're going back and forth. And I'm like, yo, and so like there's a clip online where I'm standing there, and then all of a sudden they cut it, and then they go to another close up of me, and I'm looking at the camera, and I almost have like this disgust.
It's like an eye roll for the camera. Is
Yeah,
what it
it's
looks
it's
like.
totally an eye roll, and I'm like, ugh, like
Yeah.
like just get this over with, man.
You're
And I
looking at this
actually
dude like, wrap it up, dude. Wrap it up.
I literally had to ask him. I was like, hey, Jorge, I was like, hey, I want to ask you about this. He's like, yeah, give me a second. And I was like, okay, like, because I got things to do. Like, I want to walk around the con. That's fine that this kid's going to be here for 4 days, or at least, I saw him Thursday and Friday. So, like, let's keep it moving. Let's go. Let's go. And so I thought that was interesting. And that was funny that you, me, and Ant are all on the Channel 7 real quick
That's
for like
awesome.
3 seconds on the Channel 7 news for New York Comic Con
That's
kickoff at the Javits Center.
that's how you know you made it as an influencer, dude. That's how you know.
Yeah. Hey, at least we and the well, here's the best thing. The fact that our friends saw that video and picked us out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like not even us. It's like,
I never would
yo,
have known that occurred.
yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a great con. I picked up some stuff, but yeah, I think hanging out with everybody, um, Thursday night, Friday night,
Yeah.
if we could have stayed a Saturday, we would have hung out with more people, went out to dinner, more drinking. Just
Yeah.
it would have definitely been a lot more fun, I would say. I mean, it was fun. Shit, Friday night was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cannot say that without people that we hung out with was an absolute blast. So
Yeah. So should I tell my one pickup story? What I
oh
got?
yeah, you could definitely tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
So
non-book. No, this guy walks around a convention with no book bag and a t-shirt and jeans on all day.
yeah. So Thursday. Well, okay. So first off, some backstory, I guess. So if you guys been listening to the con for a while, or the podcast for a while, you know I'm a big Charles Soule fan, and I'm a big fan of the Shrouded College stuff, both Hell to Pay and Bloody Dozen. And I probably have talked about this before on episodes, but with the one, I think it's the 1 in 50, the 1 in 50 issue that comes out, you can get for number one for both those two series. It comes with like a commemorative coin, so to speak. And so Charles Soule had said, if you show up to a con with the coin, you can play a game with him. So it's, you take the coin and you bet the coin kind of. So he brings out a dice. In this case, he didn't have a dice. He just used like a number generator on his phone. And if you roll a 1, you get some OA, I think from like the book or the title. If you roll a 2, 3, 4, or 5, you keep your coin. If you roll a 6, he takes your coin and you don't get it back. So I had these 2 coins for both Bloody Dozen and Hell to Pay, and I meant to bring him to Terrificon because he was going to be there. And I totally forgot, and it pissed me off like that I forgot him. And so checked Baltimore. He didn't go to Baltimore, so I was like, okay. And then as New York was coming up, I was like, okay, he's going to be there. I'm bringing these coins. I'm doing it. So Thursday we got there, roll up. His booth was empty. It was just us. And like you said, it was probably like 3 or so. It was pretty early on when we first got there. And I went up there and I was like, hey, here we go. Both coins. He's like, oh, you want to do both? I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's let it roll. Right. So brings it out. First one rolls like a 4 or 5. So I get to keep my coin. The second one, boom, rolls a 1 and I win some OA. So he's like, wow, that's crazy. He's like, only, do you remember he said like 3 people maybe have won OA? It was a low number. And then he said only one person, he's only ever had to take one person's coin. And he was like, I felt really bad about it. He was like, I took it. And he's like, I felt really bad. He's like, I kind of wanted to give it back. And I was like, no, man, those are the rules. Like that's the risk you take. So,
Oh yeah.
I was really cool. I was pumped about that. So I got to keep my coins and got some OA on the way. And I was telling Justin before the show started, I know this is wild. I don't know why I never read it. I know you talked about it. I never read 8 Billion Genies. And I just think I had other things going on. And I kind of was like, oh yeah, I'll come back and I'll read it. I just never did. And so I actually read it on the train ride up and loved it. Fantastic. So, and most people are like, yeah, duh, it's awesome. So loved it. And I wanted to get the hardcover. So I went on their website just a couple days ago and I bought like whatever the hardcover, and they emailed me, and the rep or whoever it was like, hey, we're actually, we didn't realize it. We're out of that cover. Do you care? Do you want a refund, or do you care about this cover? And I was like, nah, dude, I don't give a shit what cover it is. I just want the book. He's like, cool. And I was like, but why I got you, hey, I won some OA on Thursday from him. I explained the whole situation. I was like, I just, not sure what I'm going to hear or what the word is. And he wrote back. It was kind of funny because he was like, let me see if I can find this email here really quick. Okay. He was just like, oh, wow, this is really convenient. He said, well, this is convenient. We're still waiting on Will Sliney to get the batch he did over to us. So I don't have an exact timeline, but once he does, I'll be immediately sending it out to all the winners that are still waiting on that. So that's cool. So no date for sure, but it also kind of clears up what, because he didn't say what kind of OA you were going to get, right? Whether it's like Vader or whatever, but if it's coming from Will Sliney, I mean, that's the Shrouded College stuff, which is good. That's what I would like to have, since it's that Shrouded College game, right? So, but yeah, pretty pumped. Some OA there, and didn't purchase it, just won it. And,
Dude, that's awesome.
And like you said, I didn't have to carry anything out. So even better, like, yeah, ship it to me, dude. I'm not going to carry it around and travel with it. Great. So,
God, I was so scared walking around New York City.
Yeah.
With that OA, like both days, like walking it to the bar, meeting up with you and Nate. And then when we were leaving on Saturday, I was just like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. Friday was fun, man. So those of you guys who maybe don't follow our Instagram, Friday, we went out Friday night, before Friday night during the day. I dipped out a little early and went to Rudy's and met up with Trial by Gods, Nate Trial by Gods, who's been on our show before, buddy of ours. And this place, Justin had been telling me about it. It's just this hole in the wall that's like the cheapest drinks. Dude, you can get $5 for a beer and a shot, and then like unlimited hot dogs as long as you're drinking, which is insane. I think I ate like 5 or 6 hot dogs there. Nothing fancy, like no relish, right? Just ketchup or mustard. That's it. Just a hot dog on a bun. And then a Tim met up with us. He had his buddy with him. That was it, right? Just us.
Yeah, just us 5. Mhm.
Yeah, it was 5. And then later we went out to dinner with Anthony and Laura from Bird City, which was a blast. Oh man, we had a ton of fun. We all got a little tipsy Friday night.
Yeah.
Friday night, had a good time. And then Nate met back up with us after the Mets had that huge win.
Mhm.
And that dude kept me out till like 3 or 4 a.m., dude. Like that guy was like, I felt bad because I wanted to go home. I'm gonna be honest. Like I wanted to go back with when you went back. I was ready. But Nate's like, hey, let's keep going. I felt peer pressured and just felt bad. Like, well, he came all the way out of his way to meet back up with us.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
just kept going, man. So damn.
It's all right. We all dude, it was like an all-day drink fest. Like it was like Rudy's, and there was like the quick power nap, and then it was right back out, hanging out, having dinner, shots of limoncello. It was a good time. Overall, it was a good time. Out of the show, in the show.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah, and it's like I thought about it. I thought about it really like this week and like how we were going to do this episode. And, we invited people on here, and we were it was like an open invite, who knows, like someone may still show up, who knows? But I really thought about it. I was like, dude, I've seen this guy 4 times this year. And I'm like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to see you.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe King Khan, but I don't know. Good, more babies on the way in February, so I don't know. It's gonna be tough, dude.
But still, it was like month after month, like
month after month. Yeah,
yeah. It was just like it was so quick. Like it was the turnaround was like, all right, well, here's Terrific Con, and then 3 weeks later, we're meeting up in Baltimore. 3 weeks later, we're meeting up in New York, and so I don't know. I'll just have to come down to
come down for when Tony Fleeks is gonna be at my my comic shop.
Sure. I'll take the Amtrak train from Metro Megalopolis
right to Fredericksburg, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. That's fine. I'll look and see. I'm sure it's cheap if I do it far enough out. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think my trip to New York was like $50.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's got to be dirt cheap. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to do that. So. Great times, of course, hanging out with you as much as I could this year, and let's get into some stuff. We can.
Yeah, dude.
What do you want to do?
Lots of news from New York. Lots of news. Lots of good stuff came out of New York. What do we want to start with? Do you want to start with
I think we should start off with the New York news, and then we'll kind of push
the New York news. What do you mean?
The New York Comic Con news.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. But you want to start with
Marvel, dude, it doesn't matter. I think the
Okay.
listeners they know a lot of things that are happening, but I think there's also a lot of stuff that's interesting. So.
Well, let's stay with Charles Soule, right? Since we're already talking about Charles Soule, so we got a couple articles. I'll start off this one. So we got big news out of New York Comic Con, which is awesome. Charles Soule and Steve McNiven's dark future epic Daredevil: Cold Day in Hell begins in April 2025. So Soule and McNiven team up for Daredevil: Cold Day in Hell. Set in a dark future, Matt Murdock reclaims his powers to fight evil. McNiven returns to Marvel for his first major project in nearly a decade. So it's going to be inspired by Frank Miller. The series aims for bold storytelling and daring risks. So it's a bit of the way into the future, which is a bit of the way into the future, but this will go further. Announced at Marvel Fanfare panel. Let's see. I'm trying to like pick out the best part, so I'm not reading this whole article. So, following their work together on Death of Wolverine, this creative team reunited on a future Daredevil in the same spirit as what McNiven did with Mark Miller on Old Man Logan. Set in a Marvel Universe future on the brink of collapse, the series introduced a grizzled, older version of Matt Murdock. So this is a quote. Years into the future, powerless Matt Murdock is no longer Daredevil, but he's still the man without fear. Doing whatever he can to help those in need in a city broken beyond repair, he'll finally be able to take the fight to where it matters most when something catastrophic happens, causing his powers to miraculously return. With no one by his side, Daredevil has little chance against the evil permeating every corner until Captain America entrusts him with a mission to safeguard the world's only hope. I know whatever idea I write is going to be executed masterfully by Steve, and that level of trust allows you to take a lot of risks, Soule said. It's been really interesting progress because the way we made it is something I wouldn't do with an artist that I didn't have this level of collaboration and trust with. We've been working on this book for 4 years, and that time has been well spent. I started out by going, why are not more people learning from Frank Miller and the storytelling he does, McNiven said. I was inspired by his work on Dark Knight Returns to a certain degree. The structure of the 16-panel grid forces you to do different storytelling techniques. So Cold Day in Hell, it's going to be a 3-issue series on sale in April of 2024. Future version, in the story, old man story, if you want, of Daredevil. I'm really pumped, man. I mean, I love Charles Soule's run on Daredevil was great. I love Charles Soule, and I just love Daredevil in general, man. Right? You know,
Oh, you love Charles Soule.
love him.
Sweet.
I love him so much.
Yeah, it's we kind of are fomenting. Is this the Old Man Logan timeline, or is this something completely different? It's interesting though. He says he took 4 years, and it's only going to be a 3-issue mini. This better be the best written 3-issue mini ever.
Well, maybe it's 4 years of like the idea. They've been kicking it around, and their schedules
Yes.
didn't align, or I mean, McNiven didn't come back to Marvel. That's probably really what it was just like schedules aligning. I mean,
Timing, yeah.
Okay. Soule's busy, and as you're going to see as we talk about more articles here, man, we got like, you want to bring up the next Charles?
Yeah,
This is like
yeah.
the Charles Soule like suckathon here.
Yeah, so he is all over the Marvel universe. So Kylo, and this is over at bleedingcool.com. Kylo Ren returns in the 2025 in Star Wars Legacy of Vader. So we just had the Vader ending, the Star Wars ending, Dr. Aphra, Bounty Hunters, all that stuff ended this year. So launching in 2025, Star Wars A Legacy of Vader by Charles Soule and Luke Ross, starring Kylo Ren. So this is going to be starring Kylo Ren in his new comic book series. Basically, Kylo explores the obsession of his grandfather, Darth Vader, set between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. The series divulges into Kylo's rule, follows his journey to Mustafar and Tatooine, seeking Vader's legacy and guidance.
No, that's
Man,
gonna be
I
cool.
don't even know. Yeah, dude, I speak very highly of Charles Soule's Darth Vader 2 run.
Oh yeah,
And the last one wasn't that great, but shit, man, I think this is going to be very interesting because this is again untapped stuff between episode 8 and 9. Kind of right in the beginning of episode 9, we really get to see like the power of Kylo Ren, like him just beating the shit out of people, and that's kind of what we wanted from Kylo Ren and his obsession with being a Sith. And
yeah,
I'm definitely interested in this. So it goes to
there's
talk about Soul says, when fans talk to me about Star Wars work, 2 of my Marvel Comics runs come up, which is almost everything. With more than anything else, my 2017 run on Darth Vader, Volume 2, with Giuseppe Kamikuli, and my 2019 Rise of Kylo Ren with Will Sweeney. And that's true. Those are like 2 good runs for him. With there's tons of other stuff in there, but I mean, you can't hit. I feel like what I said this was, it's like you could literally throw a dart at the Marvel Star Wars universe, and you'd hit a Charles Soule book.
Yeah, that's true. Whether it's High Republic or the Vader stuff, or even the ongoing Volume 2 stuff. Yeah, man.
So I'm excited.
I think this is great because like obviously Kylo Ren is an important character in the sequel trilogy, and all that aside, whether you liked it or not, he was an interesting character, both because of like his parentage and just his history and everything. And so it is going to be kind of nice to see that open up a little bit, right? Where we left him at the end of Rise of Skywalker, where he's now the supreme leader end of Last Jedi, to where he's the supreme leader to the Rise of Skywalker. So what happened in between there? Like, how was he as the leader when he kind of was like in charge? And I think it's great to see him kind of go to, obviously, seeing Kylo Ren at Mustafar and both Tatooine, two locations which are like seeped in Darth Vader lore, but we didn't see in the sequel trilogy. So, oh man, I think this is gonna be really cool. I'm pretty pumped for that too. Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome one. Vader's castle, dude. Gonna see him in Vader's castle. That's gonna be awesome. So
it's going to be a wild ride for 2025 because like you said, he doesn't have Snoke, so there's nobody above him at this point.
Right.
And this is like the Kylo Ren that we want to see. The powerful, thinking of what he did to his parents, and just a badass. Like, he doesn't have to answer to anybody. So now he can and I'm sure we're going to see Hux, right? And and some type of flashbacks and stuff like that. And I'm excited.
Yeah. So one more from Bleeding Cool, and sticking on the Charles Soule train here. Eddie Brock is now the new Carnage at Marvel Comics. So spinning out of Venom War, Charles Soule and Jesus Saiz, Eddie Brock, Carnage will be launching in February. So we kind of know what's going on. And this is kind of a bummer. And we talked
Super
about it.
bummer.
Like, yeah, we already know kind of then how it's going to be the end of Venom War. And it kind of stinks when they do stuff like this. We saw with All In as well, which has been great. But sometimes you wish like, hey, let the event end before you announce stuff. But obviously, you know, you got to announce stuff too as well. So
The internet sucks.
yeah, the internet sucks. The internet
It
kind of sucks.
does.
Yeah, dude, it just ruins
It
shit
does.
and lives. It ruins.
We didn't
lives.
have this back in the day.
I
You didn't
know.
know who the next Batman was
never
going to
knew,
be.
man.
Like
Yeah,
when he got his back broken, you didn't realize.
yeah.
You didn't
Who's
know
Azrael?
Superman, like
Yeah.
the reign of the Superman. You didn't know. It was just like cool stuff that came out. Like
Yeah. But I guess if we didn't know, we wouldn't be able to talk about it. So anyway, here's the go on to say, launching in February, Eddie Brock Carnage will be written by Soule, known for his acclaimed run on Star Wars, like we just talked about, and drawn by Jesus Saiz, following his extraordinary work on recent titles like Captain America and Punisher. Set in the aftermath of Venom War, the startling saga sees longtime Venom host Eddie Brock operating as the new host of the violent and sadistic Carnage symbiote. The series will interact with the other flagship symbiote title, All New Venom, which sees the Venom symbiote take on a yet-to-be-revealed host. So here's the quotes. The most lethal protector of all. He's been Venom. He's been anti-Venom. He's been the King in Black. Now Eddie Brock has made his darkest bond yet as he joins with the one and only Carnage. Can he control his new other's endless bloodlust, or will he give himself over to madness and murder? Join Eddie and Carnage on a journey into the darkest parts of the Marvel Universe with bloody death as their only guide. Carnage is someone that has to kill, so Eddie has to feed him deaths in order for Eddie to be okay with that. The people he feeds Carnage are serial killers, Soule explained. But Carnage is also an addict, and addicts need bigger and bigger highs. I'm having a blast with this, he continues. Jesus Saiz wanted to do a horror book. This is his wheelhouse. He loves creepy, organic things to draw, and I'm giving him everything he can handle. So I do like kind of this idea, right? You know, we saw it with what Torn did with Carnage. It was very violent, really leaned heavy into like Charles says in the quote, a horror aspect and violent and sadistic and serial killer-esque. So I like that they're following that vein and they're keeping it going. And even just reading that quote, it makes me feel, you know, what makes me think about immediately was Dexter, right? Like Dexter was this psychopath who his father trained him to, okay, dude, you got to take out your urges. Let's do it on bad people, right? So Eddie's now, okay, feed the beast, feed Carnage. Let's find some serial killers. So, of course, like the article says, you know, I'm sure it's not going to really work out so smoothly that way, but yeah, it's cool. It's a cool idea, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Did you read Venom War Carnage number 3 this
yeah.
week?
So yeah, I was going to bring that up. So I'm sure,
Okay.
you know, we'll talk about it in the comic stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
the last issue of the Venom War sees the release of Cletus Cassidy separating himself from the Carnage symbiote.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of like where they're going. But again, like it sucks because it would have been more interesting the lead up of like what's going to happen. Maybe either not announce a new Carnage series or announce it and don't say who it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then when you read this book and you're just like, oh damn, he's going to leave. Like what crazier person other than Cletus Cassidy could be Carnage?
Right. Yeah. Like what is like a final panel of Venom War, like the goo drops down on Eddie or something, like the Carnage symbiote goo drops on him,
Or
something
in
like
Venom,
that.
yeah, sometime in
Yeah.
Venom War. Yeah. Like he
Yeah.
just kind of it follows him because however it's gonna be, you know, at
Yeah.
the end of this Venom War series, which still goes 2 more months.
Yeah.
So.
But cool. Definitely be reading that and checking it out.
A lot of
What
Charles
else?
stuff. Let's do some Marvel. So sticking with the Marvel stuff. So again, another Marvel title. So Marvel launch the sequel. We talked about this, the One World Under Doom. So Marvel launched sequel to Strange Academy called Doom Academy in February. So I'm not even attempt to pronounce the names, but the Doom Academy, a sequel to Strange Academy, launches in February with Doctor Doom now the Sorcerer Supreme after the events of the Blood Hunt, and who gathered the Strange Academy students during that event, keeping them under his wing. And the announced at the Women of Marvel panel. So Doom Academy will be a 5-issue miniseries that sees Doctor Doom and his young sorcerers transformed in accordance with Doom's rule. The students of the Strange Academy were instrumental in Doom's Bold reach for power in Bloodhunt, and now that he has the entire world under his mighty thumb, his influence on those breakout young Marvel heroes truly begins. Do you think that Strange Academy would be the same in the world with Doctor Doom as Sorcerer Supreme? No, it's now Doom Academy. Relocated from New Orleans to Latveria, the best magic school in the world has just gotten better, according to some. It's the start of the second year for Strange Academy students, and that's will not go as planned.
Yeah, could be cool. I mean, I think this whole one world under Doom is going to be kind of it's going to be very a la Dark Reign, right? Like that, the whole banner,
Mm,
like that, kind of like what Marvel did with Dark Reign, and when you had Norman Osborn and a head of Hammer or whatever it was, back then. So I like that idea rather than like an event, so to speak, like a Venom War. Of course, they're going to have little spin-offs like we did with Dark Reign and stuff like that. And Avengers Initiative was another kind of or like banner. Um, I like that better. I like when they do stuff like that better than events, right? It's more like a theme. So it's like, hey, look, like
mhm.
this is kind of what's happening right now, and this is going to permeate throughout the whole Marvel universe. So I like that. It makes it more. It makes the stakes more real, in my opinion, because it's like, hey, look, this event, like now Doom's in charge, you can't escape him under every aspect of the Marvel universe. This is going to be like something going on. That's how it was with like the Dark Reign stuff, right? Like, Norman was just so in charge, and like, I don't know. I liked it. I very much enjoyed this. So I'm pretty excited. I don't feel like they've done something like that in a while at Marvel. Um, so that should be pretty cool, dude. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'll read
And
Doom Academy or not, but
I'm sure we have 5 issues. We'll get through it.
yeah.
I think the biggest outcome will be the students of the Strange Academy of like who could be turning, right? Because
Mhm.
for the most part, everyone's good, but
Right.
maybe under Doom, they'll end up being, villains in the long run. They'll
Yeah.
kind of turn, and we'll see.
Yeah.
There's some cool characters in there for sure, but I don't know. We'll have to find out like what Doom has for him, and they do go into it saying that um it's shocking and upholding turn of events that will impact Marvel's entire line of comics and see the launch of tie-in series and one-shots collectively forming in an era worthy of comic books' greatest supervillain. So yeah, it's going to be 5 issues. That's quick one-shots. There'll be tie-ins, but it's not an event thing where 2025 is going to be all about Doom. Like this
Yeah.
could be like a year-long thing where, like you said, like the Dark Reign was
Right.
over across many titles. It didn't just, okay, well, we're going to do it for 2 months. It's a series. It's this event. This really isn't an event because he's also tiptoeing in the Spider-Man stuff that we touched
Mhm.
on,
Yeah.
months ago. Like
The 8 deaths or whatever it
yeah,
is, 8 or 9 deaths, 8,
and they
8,
talked
yeah.
about that too, like Spider-Man getting a new costume and he's going to be working for Doctor Doom. Same thing. So
Yeah.
fun.
It's really interesting, man. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah.
You wanna take the Star Wars one too?
Uh, nah, I figured we already talked about the best Star Wars thing. So
I did
figured
see on this, which was cool, the Bad Batch ready for a new mission. I like it. Tech lives in a story set before the events of the Bad Batch. So that's kinda cool. Little
yeah, they do have the
interesting
Jedi
stuff.
Knights coming out, the Star Wars Jedi Knights, which is like the first time they're really doing like a Marvel ongoing series that's part of the Clone Wars era, which I don't know. I mean, we all know like that the Clone Wars cartoon is still the best era, in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
But how much can you pull from this, right? Between the cartoon, anything that's been shown in the comics, anything that's shown in like IDW, like the mini series that they've done with everybody, Mace, Obi-Wan, Anakin. Like we all seen this stuff before. Like I get it that it kind of seems that every issue is going to be a different character, but it's also like an ongoing. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like they need to move on. I like the Charles Soule thing. I think that's perfect. We're getting a lot of High Republic still. There's a lot of
Yeah.
novels coming out. There's a lot of, other little things. They're still continuing with, let me just pull up the article real quick. They were talking about the, all the Lucasfilm publishing stuff. So like High Republic Adventures is still continuing. You're going to get the hyperspace stories, more of like the one shots with Grievous and Mace. Like you said, the Bad Batch is coming. The ongoing with High Republic Adventures is pretty high. They're doing at least up to 17, and then everybody that's you know with all the concept, they showed some cool concept art of the I don't even call them G1, like Wave One, I guess, of the High Republic, like
Mhm.
Avar, Bell, and Boryaga, like in those
Yeah.
Sentinel armor, which is something that you really only ever saw in Star Wars Rebels, I think. You've seen that maybe in
Mhm.
Clone Wars very briefly too. The
It says they're taking the battle to the Nile and the Nameless. So that should be cool. Ready to fight as the trials of the Jedi continue. So that'll be
my
good.
problem is I love that. I like Wave One better than Wave Two,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's weird because the Wave Two is like it's
It was a step back.
yeah, it's a step back. That's the
Yeah.
easiest way to put it. So
Yeah.
we'll
But
see.
and
Yeah,
then
Trials of the Jedi, and then you have all the different High Republic novels that are coming out. So a lot of people are, Justina Ireland is still on there, Claudia Gray, and then you have a new one called from Tessa Granton, the Acolyte, the Crystal Crown, which is set during the Acolyte time. So you have, um, Jackie and
Yord.
Yord. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah. I want to see more about there was the other thing is even the past two High Republic runs, like there wasn't enough like Marchie and Row either, right? Like we didn't get any we haven't seen him since that first, like you said, the first wave. So
Mhm.
there is some concept art as well about Marchie and Row and Lorna D. So I definitely would like to see some more of that. I want to see some more movement in the main High Republic story,
The
which I think
novels are better.
the
You've
novels are
read
good. Yeah.
like not Quest of the Jedi. What was the second one?
Light was that Light of the Jedi? That one? I can't remember them now.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to. Star Wars. I can't even remember what it was. Like Into the Darkness.
Yeah, Into the Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, Into the Dark. That one was a good novel.
Yeah. I
Like
liked them
that
all.
was
I liked all the main like the main ones, the adult ones. I didn't read any like that's not true. I read a couple of the YA ones, but
yeah, but that's like the one. That was the one where they actually have the fight gets brought to Coruscant, and the Nihil come and they break through, and there's some good shit in there.
yeah, for sure. So
But yeah, I like that one. I haven't really kept up. I know there was a good novel in this wave with Martian Row, um, which I'll probably end up going back. But yeah, I think the wave one was the best with the whole Great Disaster. I think that was the main thing that I enjoyed the most about the High Republic stuff. So
mhm.
we'll continue past that. But let's do one more article and we'll talk some comics. So interesting stuff right here, man. This is over at deadline.com. Um, not so much because of the show, but we're going to talk about the writer. So, Good Omens to end with one 90-minute episode as Neil Gaiman exits following sexual assault allegations. So,
Yeah.
interesting stuff. So, Good Omens is setting a final send off in a truncated one. The Amazon fantasy drama will end with a 190-minute episode in lieu of the full third season, with creator Neil Gaiman exiting after allegations were made against him from a slew of women. Michael Sheen and David Tennant, who play the Angels and Devils, respectively, will return for a one-off television movie, which will begin shooting in early 2025 in Scotland. Gaiman contributed to the writing of the series finale, but will not be working on the production. And his production company, the Blank Corporation, is no longer involved. A new writer is expected to finish up the work, although insiders say that the deal has not been closed. This comes after the media podcast, The Chronicles account of two women who seen some consensual relationships who accused him of sexual assault. Another two have come forward. Gaiman denies the allegations. Um, I don't know, man. This is actually the first time we really heard this from a comic book thing, right? Other
Yeah.
than Bryan Singer, I have never heard of a comic book writer or artist. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, you know, I don't know. You got to kind of see how these things play out, right? But you got to take these allegations seriously at first, right? Until proven otherwise. But I think my initial instinct or thought when I heard about this was, how is this going to affect the Sandman season 2?
Yeah. Okay.
So who knows, right? Because we do know that there was. I'm actually looking now to see if any information on that. It was renewed for a second season, which is expected to release in 2025. But I don't know. I mean, is this going to affect that as well? Because that's how these things kind of work, right? And I'm not taking a stance one way or the other on this. This is just fact, right? And for example, the situation with Kang, can't remember the actor's name right now.
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors, yes, right. So the allegations came out. They fired him, and and I don't even know the how truthful this is. Someone told me this recently, and I haven't really followed up with his story, but that apparently, like, he's actually getting cleared on a lot of the stuff that was made up, or I don't want to say made up, but he was getting cleared on the allegations. So
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe not a guilty or not, but like he's done, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
a lot of
totally
that's
done.
done. So once it kind of happens, everyone starts to cut ties. So we'll see, man. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything here that's mentioning about any kind of effect that'll have, but I can't see how it wouldn't. I'm gonna be
Oh
honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah. Well, the thing too with Sandman is they pretty much are just pulling straight from the comic, right? So even if they have the second season, it's pretty much just going to continue the Sandman series. There's not
Right.
much ebbs and flows. Like if like with Good Omen is a completely different thing. Like
Yep.
he's writing
But
it with
Good Omens was based on a book, though, also. So there is source material for it.
yeah, but I think it's easily to pull. No, I get it. I completely
Yeah.
understand and I agree with you. I just think it's a little tough to it's easier to swallow with the Sandman stuff because they could just pull directly from that. But again, his
Yeah.
input is from the creator themselves.
Yeah. And I'm looking now, like they had already had plans, like they were going to do the Dead Boy Detectives. They were going to do like a whole expanded universe. There was going to be potentially the Joanna Constantine spinoff. Um, so yeah, man, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see how this is going to affect all that.
Well, that
But
already came out, that Dead Boy Detectives. That was
did it?
earlier this year.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
Yeah, that was on Netflix.
Oh,
I
really?
don't
And did you watch it? Was it any good?
I did not. But it did real quick. Why was
Series was
it
given
yeah,
green
actually it
light.
was canceled though.
Oh,
Came
really?
from August 25th. Yeah, well, only one season. Yeah,
Okay.
it started in April. I watched like the first two and then I kind of
Yeah.
something came up, but
Huh.
yeah, one season.
Interesting.
Lack of viewership.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell how this all plays out with Neil Gaiman and everything.
Mhm.
So crazy stuff, man. World we live in.
Yeah.
But let's do this. Let's finish this up. Let's round out this episode. Let's talk about some books this week. I feel like there were some great books this week, man. Why don't you start us off though?
I'm gonna try to pick some books that I don't think you're gonna pick. So,
Ooh.
Alien Romulus 1.
Well, I wanted to read that. I didn't get a chance.
Okay, cool. Well,
It's a
so it's
prequel, right?
yeah. So I feel it sucks because
It sucks.
it sucks
I
because
liked it. It
I
sucks.
liked it. Yeah, yeah, I know. I liked it because it expands on Alien Romulus, the movie. They're talking about they actually just announced that they're doing a sequel to Alien Romulus.
Mhm.
The comic book is set before the movie and it kind of shows like what's happening. Like I don't want to spoil it doesn't matter. Spoil the movie. It kind of shows everything that's happening on the spaceship prior to the teens getting there, right?
So, like the experiments and stuff.
Yeah, so like how they capture how they capture the alien from the first Aliens
Mhm.
movie and how it gets loose and then how it just kind of is there.
Okay.
Um and like what they're doing with it. So it's cool, but I don't know if I feel like this comic should have came out before the movie to give you a little bit more like, oh damn, or the whole buildup of like once you get into the movie and you find out that it is the original alien from Alien and it's the same one that Sigourney Weaver fights and they captured it and it's so many years later. So I don't know. I'm like, it's like hit or miss with me. Like I
Okay.
like it, but I'd also think it could have been like depending on like what the type of person you are. Like, man, I would have loved to read this before the movie, but whatever.
Gotcha.
Um, what else did I like this week that I think you probably will not pick or talk about? Oh, uh, man, this was a wild one. DC Horror Presents #1.
Okay.
There's two stories in it. The first story is just absolutely wild because obviously during we're in the Halloween time, we're in October, so we have all the different scares. But the first story, the main story is it's got a doll maker. Do you remember doll maker, right?
Yeah. Oh
From
yeah.
the Batman stuff, the
Creepy.
detective stuff, 252. Yeah, that too. So doll maker has a daughter. I can't remember I can't remember if she ever was introduced at any point, but it starts off with this girl, her, you don't know it's her. Her boyfriend ends up killing himself or dying, and she takes him to her father's house, who is the doll maker, and basically tries to reanimate him. And, some stuff happens, and you find out that, she's the doll maker's daughter. And, she wants to have things done her way because, of course, she's the daughter of a villain. So,
Mhm.
I'm not sure if this is just a one shot or if they're going to kind of continue bringing back this stuff because the DC horror has not really been anywhere at all. So, um, final issue of Death in the Family, Robin Lives. So this was the 4-issue miniseries that showed that Jason Todd didn't die at the hands of Joker in the Death in the Family run originally. This issue is very interesting because stuff continues to happen to Jason. We all know Jason is kind of like the black sheep of the Robins. Things happen to him, and it kind of changes Bruce's entire uh, like uh, how do I want to say his like entire game of or his entire goal of becoming Batman. He ends up stepping down as Batman.
Mhm.
Batman's gone for like a year. Dick ends up picking up the title of Batman, or the mantle of Batman. He gets Bruce gets married. There's some stuff that happens with Jason, and it just ends on such a crazy thing that you probably wouldn't see coming with Jason, but because he ends up killing the Joker in this 4-issue miniseries. Spoiler
Hmm.
alert, whatever it is, what it is. But that's not like the crazy. That's not the craziest of crazy, but you knew it was going to happen, right? Like
Right.
Jason always wanted to kill the Joker after uh, Death in the Family. Um, I know they're doing this all new, like the DC All In stuff. I did pick up and read the Nightwing because that changed artist and writer.
Mhm.
So Tom Taylor is no longer writing it,
Yeah.
which is I'm happy about because I just don't like him. It's got Dan Wathers and Dexter Soy. Dexter Soy, I love his art. He did Captain Marvel, probably going on like 10 years ago. I loved the Captain Marvel run with that stuff, but interesting. Um, Nightwing's always been a great character, and we talked about it. I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago with how he's just part of the DCEU. He's part of the Trinity. He's one of
Right.
the OGs, and you see that. And you know, Dan actually does a really great job of like reintroducing him into the world. Like, because this is kind of like a jumping on point, I think, for all these books. So I definitely recommend, if you haven't been reading Nightwing, jump on because it's kind of a nice little refresher
I
of
actually
who
read
Night.
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I liked it, dude. I actually picked up I read all of the all in books this
Okay.
week. Like I wanted to kind of see like the ongoing all ends. I wanted to kind of see how that brand, so to speak, like we were talking about, kind of affected. I actually didn't accept Action and Detective. I didn't read those two. Um
I did read Detective. Detective was very good too, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. But
yeah,
Detective was good. I didn't read Action. Superman 19 was good.
yeah, I like that one too.
That was another solid read. I'll just kind of blow through a couple other ones. We got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #3 real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could talk about that. Chitara #4. Soule's doing a great job writing that. I
Mhm.
thoroughly enjoyed that. Um, but probably pick of the week for me. And because I'm sure we're going to also do the event stuff, but this is actually a really interesting book. It's a new horror series by the writer of Canto, the Feeding #1 from
Hmm.
Image Comics. It's actually a one shot, but it's pretty wild. So it's got David Bayer, who is, of course, like I said, the creator of Canto, and then you have Jude Zucker, who's the artist for Canto. So you get these two back. If you've read Canto or have seen Canto, it's the little clockwork guy. He's cute. It's fun, right? Dude, this one shot, this horror thing, and obviously it's perfect because again, it's Halloween time, is just crazy. It's this main character and picture like American Psycho,
Hmm.
character of like Patrick Bateman, but it's not Patrick Bateman. Um, has some stuff that happens to him as a kid, grows up, same thing. Like he's all about, hanging out with the guys, boozing it up, like very fashionable, popping pills, womanizing, all that stuff. And something that something that was there when he was a kid kind of finds its way back to him. But as you're reading it, things are not what they seem, and it's crazy to really read it, and especially right now, like I said, in the horror tone. So, it's like a very demonic thing.
Hmm.
So,
Might have
it's a
to
one
check it
shot.
out.
Give it a read.
Yeah.
Whether you pick it up for like $4, like I said, I just picked it up for $4 for the feeding. I was like, oh, one shot, whatever. I read it. Maybe I'll give it away to some kid on Halloween, right?
Nice.
But yeah, so that's my pick of the week is the reading, the feeding number one, and that's from Image Comics. So check
Cool.
it out. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, real quickly, the DC All In stuff. Like I said, I read Nightwing 119, I read Superman 19, Green Arrow 17, Flash 14. So they're all kind of like the start of the All In imprint brand. You already kind of talked
Oh,
about
real quick, can I just
yeah.
talk about my hot garbage?
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
I don't know if you tried it, the Green Lantern Dark.
No, I didn't. I wasn't sure if that was at first. It's Elseworlds, right?
Yes. And we
Yeah.
talked about this many, many months ago with like the DC Vampires, the Green Lantern Dark, the Kryptonian Age for
Yeah.
Gotham by Gaslight. And I was excited to check this out because it's like a female Green Lantern. The
Mm.
writer or the artist is Weather Della,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
does Something is Killing Children. So it's it's basically like reading. Well, it's like when you're turning the pages and you're like, oh, this is Something is Killing Children. Like the girls, the males, they all look like Erica or something out
Mhm.
of that universe. But it was just stupid. It was slow and
Huh.
it was very odd. So it happens in Massachusetts. I don't know if it's going to get better or if it's going to be explained more, but I was not I was looking forward to it and I was not a fan of it. So that was
Interesting.
my quick hot garbage. But go ahead.
No, yeah, yeah. So Green Arrow was cool. We're kind of seeing like a back to basics Green Arrow where he's still dealing with the fallout of like the trust he betrayed of like the Justice League and everything. But I wouldn't say it's too groundbreaking in terms of like I wanted to try all these out to see because man, I used to read all the ongoings for DC and I've kind of like fallen off after a while. But I was like, okay, let's see if they're going to take these characters into a new direction, something that seems like interesting or not. And we'll see. I might keep going on a few of them. I'll probably keep reading Superman. I like the Doomsday stuff. I liked
Ah,
the little
yes.
reveal at the end was pretty cool.
Oh, yes.
I don't know about Green Arrow. We'll see. I'll definitely go two pages or two issues deep to kind of give it some time to breathe and see. The Flash, I don't know. It was okay. I do like Wally, so I might give it a shot too, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. What else? Turtles, I thought it was cool. I mean, out of all the turtles, Leo's my favorite. So I do like that they have each issue is kind of focused on one of the brothers, and there's obviously something that happened. And there's this big falling out, and I think it's cool that they left Donatello to the end because we did kind of see the free comic book day with Donatello being like locked up, right? And so at the
Hmm.
end of this issue, you know, Leo tells, he goes and finds Raffen and meets up at the end of what the previous issue was with Raffen and Michelangelo kind of fighting and saying they got to go rescue Donatello. So some cool stuff going on there. I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to be a slow burn for a little bit until we kind of get the where we're going to go with the turtles and where they're going to go. But I like what Jason Aaron's doing. I mean, the turtles it's tough, dude. Like, how do you do something new, right? With these four brothers who always do the same thing, kind of. So
Well, it was interesting. Like issue 2 had Mikey. He's in Japan. He's like a
right,
TV star. Like
yeah, yeah. I
Raph
think
was in the prison, and then the way it leads up is, issue 2 has them at the end, and then issue 3 has Leo up
yeah,
until the very end, and now they all meet up. So
hmm
it was good placement of everybody, and everybody had their issue to shine.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but they seem more mad at each other now. So I
yeah.
think
There's
that's
something going on. Yeah,
yeah, like
something happened, right? Like
yeah.
which I think is great because, like I said, there's not a lot of like, how do you do it's what's tough with these characters, right? They've been around for so long and they have archetypes. And so, like, I think Jason Aaron's doing a good job and I'm enjoying where we're going with this and I want to see how it plays out. Um, Void Rivals 13, still great. Still loving Void Rivals. I picked up Iron Man #1. I wanted to check it out. It's a new beginning and I think I'm going to keep reading it. So after all the fall of Krakoa, Iron Man kind of lost, Stark Industries to Fei Long, and he's kind of getting it back, but there's still some issues going on. And at the end of this, there's like a team up between Roxxon and AIM trying to take over Stark and Stark Industries. And so I might check this out for a little while. This Iron Man #1. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good, and I'm interested to see where it goes. Um, Rook Exodus 6, awesome, dude. I love how now they've kind of like leaned in to now Rook is like with his animals, right? Like he'd kind of been fighting them before, now he's all in with the birds. And we kind of have like this first arc done, and we know where they're going to be going and what the game plan now is. Like now we got to save Exodus, and they have to save the planet. So such a good concept, such a simple concept, really, honestly. Like there's not, and I'm not trying to like disparage this by any means, but like it's not like this is like a rocket science concept here, but it's just so good. It's so good.
Okay.
So really, really like it. What else did I read? Dazzler, meh. X Factor, also kind of meh. I'm loving the power fantasy right now. Kieran Gillen, the power fantasy, I find it really interesting. Love what they're doing there. The moon is following us, dude.
Okay, I'm glad you said this because this would have been my pick of the week if you
Yeah,
didn't say anything.
it's good.
Let's talk about this.
It's this is not gonna be my pick of the week, but it's great. Okay, so you put me on to do a power bomb, right? And not to make this about anything, like I'm sure everyone can understand these themes and stuff, but both do a power bomb and the moon is following us is very pulling on the heartstrings of parents. And so like being a parent, it hits different, dude. Like honestly, I feel like such a pussy too when I read this stuff down. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? Like it pulls on the heartstrings, and Daniel Warren Johnson is just amazing, man. It's so good.
But just the plot.
Just the plot's great.
It's
Yeah.
like it is so it's the farthest thing from anybody like could have thought about to do a comic.
Yeah.
Like the do a power bomb was it's wrestling, it's demonic, whatever. Like that's what that's fine.
Yeah.
But like
Also out of
this,
nowhere though, really.
yeah, that's out of nowhere
Yeah.
too. But this, at the end of the first issue, you kind of get the reveal that
Yeah.
they're inside. But this you get the whole backstory. And
Mhm.
it's just still like, what? Like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Wait, what? Like,
So
oof.
the quick and dirty synopsis for you guys with the story here is this mom and dad have a daughter, and she's kind of gone and fallen into some like coma. So let's just call it that, out of nowhere. And no one really
Mm,
knows. No one knows what's going on with her. No one can diagnose her. And turns out she's stuck in her dreams. And so then her dreams, like the characters of her dreams, which like kind of follow her stuffed animals and her toys and stuff, they're inside their own universe and they're fighting a war, which we haven't got a lot of information on, but obviously there's like a war going on in her dreams, and they're able to cross over into the real world and bring the parents in through magic, technology, whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
combo of both. And they're now in the dream world trying to fight this war with like her dream characters. And so it's really cool to try to wake her up and bring her back to life. So 2 issues in, I believe it's a 12 issue series, I think is what it's already been kind of like solicited for. But it's so good. Do you read, how often, like when these books come out at the end, do you read the like the letter portion?
Oh, like the fan service
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you ever read those?
Sometimes, like I think probably like Stray Dogs and Feral.
Okay.
I read them. Maybe here and there on some other stuff, but
I'm kind of the same. Like it's like here and there, like I skip like Void Rivals. I kind of read them a little bit here and there, but there's a really funny one on this one. Someone wrote something that was like about the artist Riley Rossmo, and it was like, man, Riley Rossmo sure can draw butts. And then I was like, I thought about like do a power bomb, and like even the mom in this, it's like, hey, man, that guy draws a good butt, like
mm,
good thick butt. It was pretty funny. And they published that in the comments. Although that shit was hilarious. So, yeah, great book. Check that out. The Moon is Following Us from Image Comics. But man, I think pick of the week, and this is probably not going to surprise anyone because this is the hot flavor right now. Um, Absolute Wonder Woman.
mhm.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The Absolute Universe. Now, again, another take on different take on the character. So, without ruining the story, I guess, and not that there's a ton to ruin necessarily, but the origin of Wonder Woman in the Absolute Universe, she has been given over to Cersei, who's been punished for previous crimes, and she's in like Hell Island, basically hell, on an island by herself. And Apollo turns her over and says, "Look, Zeus doesn't want this girl around, doesn't want Wonder Woman or Diana around. She can't know about the Amazons. All the Amazons are in trouble. They're locked away. You can't even say the word Amazon. We don't want her to know it," and
Mhm.
puts a spell on her where she can't even say the word.
Yeah.
So Cersei's like a bad guy, of course, but now she's raising this girl that she doesn't want and starts to kind of, you know, bond with her and become the mother and teaches her magic. It's very a more it's so great because it's also kind of coming off the back end of Wonder Woman being very strong in Justice League Dark, right? So like you're getting more, she's more magical with
Hmm.
this. So she's very strong in magic. And then she kind of figures out who she is and she realizes she's the protection between like Earth and whatever. So she's got like a Pegasus, like a dead Pegasus that flies around on. She's got the Buster Sword, which we talked about. You see some version of the lasso at one point, but I really liked it, man. I loved the relationship between Cersei and her. And I'm not a big Wonder Woman fan. Like I don't read or have read a ton of Wonder Woman, but I'm definitely going to continue to read this title.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. It's different, and again, it's the same thing. It's in the same vein of parenting, right? You
Yeah,
see
yeah,
her
right.
through the times of when she's a baby to being a kid, and even like all the little creatures in hell, like they try to like hurt
Yeah,
her, and she can't be hurt, basically. Uh,
she tried to
yeah,
turn them into pets and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's very, yeah, it's definitely very interesting. It's a different take. She's still an Amazon, but she's raised in hell, so she's
she's
and she's
hard,
a
man.
witch, like you
Yeah,
said.
and she's
It's
a
a
witch.
completely different thing for
Yeah,
sure. So yeah, I'm excited to continue this. I'm really hoping Superman does very well as
I know.
I
You just hope that they're going to pull the hat trick off, right? Like they've knocked it out of the park on these two so far. So,
yeah. And I think this was the one that we didn't really know a lot about of all the three.
mhm.
At least I know a little bit more on the super, like at least something going in.
Yeah,
But this I felt like I knew nothing going in for her. So it was a good read. It was definitely, fun thing to check out. So
for sure. So that's it, man. It was a good week. It was a good week of comics. Really, really good week of reading here. And then that's not even to mention like there's some other great books. Like Spirits of Vengeance was awesome too. But hell, we should do a show where we just talk about each book probably. But yeah, that's it. That's what we got. Thanks for listening for the New York Comic Con breakdown. Thanks to everyone who we saw up there and hung out with, friends and everyone. Like you make it worthwhile, the experience and everyone. You guys are great out there. So that's all I got. You got anything coming up, man?
if you're listening to this early enough, I will be doing a Star Wars Whatnot show Friday night. We do have some stuff planned for next month. We have a very special guest, which I'm going to keep quiet because I'm hoping it happens. Make sure you check out all of our bonus content for this month.
Mhm.
Again, everybody that was on this month, our most recent one, I had Paul on from Project Neosis. It was a lot of fun chatting with him about his upcoming Kickstarter. Our buddy Scott Palachek was on his Kickstarter funded. So thanks to everybody for the people that did back that. Madison from our buddy James from Mad Love Comics, and Carmen Costa for Proctor. So go check out those bonus contents. Some of them are still available that you can. And then next month will be Paul's for Project Neosis issue number 5. So make sure you can go check them out. Good stuff. We like having different creators on, and it was good to talk to people. And
Yeah.
November we'll have more people.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we will catch you next week. Peace.
Later. Hey, comic book collectors. Do you want to protect what you collect? Do you hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code ComicCom15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.